Talking about what it means for a printer, how it relates to everything you do. Brands, what are they? They're not just a logo, that's easily recognizable, but they're much more than that. A brand is a promise, and the product and the service behind it is how you deliver that promise. Just looking at some of these logos and you already feel something. One might hate it or love it, I hate it, but you almost taste it, you smell it. Kleenex makes you feel good, uplifted, better. Chanel, please, that's on my Christmas shopping list. So why does it matter for you? Consumers feel a deep connection with a brand. They are loyal to a brand to the point where the brand stops to deliver that promise. I've read recently a fascinating story of a teenager who had the brand Gucci tattooed on his neck because he felt so close to the brand. Obviously, a few years down the line, when the brand stopped to fulfill what he was looking for, he had the tattoo kind of lasered out. Quite painful and pretty extreme process, but it really translates how we feel towards a brand. From a commercial perspective, brand drive increased loyalty and they command stronger price. You buy the brand because you perceive a higher value for it. I mean, obviously, everyone knows the Coca-Cola versus Pepsi story, but, you know, again, if in the 90s and kind of 2000s, there were some blind taste done by Pepsi. And if you drink Pepsi or Coca-Cola in an unbranded white paper cup, actually, most people preferred Pepsi because it's sweeter. Coca-Cola was horrified. Oh my gosh, Pepsi's winning. So they started to change the formula behind Coca-Cola that had not been touched for decades because they thought it had to be sweeter. And of course, the Coca-Cola fan base hated it. So they had to revert back to the original formula, which you can imagine did cost a fair amount of money and created a huge amount of grief. And it's because they had not taken on board the fact that actually you buy the brand. You're either Coca-Cola or you're Pepsi. You're not both. And one you would say is better than the other and it's irrelevant. You believe in the brand. They are very powerful. They create an emotion within you. So how does it translate? How does it matter, you know, if you're in the print industry? Well, in the past, brands used to rely on two senses, sight and sound. You know, you read an ad, you saw something on a billboard, you watched something on TV, you heard something on the radio, and that was it. That's how you built a brand. But in today's world, where we are continuously bombarded by visual messages and sound and noise, that's not enough anymore. That's not enough to create a long-lasting connection between a consumer and a brand. To survive, brands need to address more senses, and that's where print is an amazing opportunity. I placed the Singapore Airlines logo because they understood very, very early on the fact that they had to do more than just, you know, play with the billboards, the uniform of the flight attendants, and they patented a scent, a perfume that the flight attendants wear. The same perfume is actually in the flannel that you receive, the hot flannels that you get before a plane takes off, because it brings an association from a scent to a brand. It's very powerful. Wherever you are in the world, if you smell something similar, you will think about Singapore Airlines. It's very clever to understand they had to use more senses to really connect deeply with their audience. So where does print fit in all of this? So brands that really, really know how to engage with their customers are brands that have mastered the science of touch, called haptics. And I would recommend to everyone, go and visit the SAPI website, the paper merchant, the SAPI Global Merchant website, and they have created a fascinating suite of videos about the neuroscience of touch and why it matters in the print industry and what it does for a brand. They're short videos, they're extremely powerful, they're fantastic at showing how print elevates a brand. So big brands understand how to leverage touch to create impactful marketing pieces that connect deeply with their audiences. Print offers an incredibly unique and powerful sensory experience. It's not just about the color anymore. It's not just about a printed picture. It is much more than that. You can touch it. You can feel it. Touch is a very powerful form of non-verbal communication. And again, when you start to really look into this, even the simple act of touching an object increases the perceived value of that object. And again, some very interesting studies that show that when a catalog started to go online, a lot of retailers were like, great, I don't need to bring them, I don't need to print my catalog anymore because, quite frankly, it costs me a lot of money, it's painful, it's got to be updated all the time, I end up with a lot of stock that I need to get rid of. Excellent, catalog goes online, fab. And the sales for retailers when for a purely online catalog started to drop, and they couldn't understand why. Well, the product hasn't changed, it's still the same, blah, 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 blah. And that's because they had stopped using the printed media. And by doing so, they stopped creating a perceived value towards their brand. For those who live, if you look at the next catalogue, it's a substantial piece of material. It's a hardcover book, it's nicely produced, it enhances the value of the brand. Same catalogue on a flimsy paper would not create the same sense of desire, would not create the same connection between the brand and consumers. Touch has power, and in fact, one touch can really change your perception of a person or a place. Babies learn by touching, hot, cold, hard, soft. Touch is a critical part of us as human beings. We need that human connection, we need that touch. And if you think about it, the human skin is the biggest organ in our body, and it's dedicated to the sense of touch. Thousands, millions of sensory captors, and print allows us to tap into this. Now, not all memories are created equal. Why certainly is kind of going down that way, but touch has the power to shift the brain into a deeper level of engagement, to create a deeper, longer-lasting experience. And this has a really significant implication if you are in the print industry. In fact, again, Dr. Eagleman for SAPI did some research about, the weight of the paper that you use. And if an information is given on a thicker paper, you retain the information more because you give it more time, you believe it's more real. If you're a financial organization printing some very important information, going for the cheap option will actually impact on the perception and how the information is received and read and remembered. Print is tangible. It has the unique ability to trigger our senses. And as I said, touch is one of the most important sensory components of the human being. In fact, we said, the skin is the biggest organ and dedicated to touch, but out of the 5 senses, the part of the brain dedicated to the sense of touch is the biggest part against all other senses. First impressions are everything, and touch can help us ensure that that impression is a good one. Again, if you take someone's CV printed on a standard copier paper, what? Take the same CV, exactly the same, printed on something that is thicker, some texture, something that lifts it, and suddenly that person seems to be much more professional. It's the same experience, but you forge a very different impression of it. And I for the show, we ordered some printed bags, and I was in a rush. I went onto website, found a merchandise supplier, lots of them offering pretty much the same thing, and I found one that was great. Okay, they can deliver on time, the price is good, they're all pretty much the same, excellent. After I placed the order, I received 24 hours later a package from them, and rather than sending me their dull and boring and non-engaging and quite cheap kind of merchandising catalogue, they would send me the catalogue, but it's a hardcover book. It's perfect binding, ribbon. It's beautiful. Now, I've never met them. My experience of them was online, but suddenly I sense and I attach a deeper value to them, which means that, you know, out of a small kind of online connection, suddenly I'm like, these guys are serious, these guys I want to work with. Which means that the next time I need merchandise items, I will go back to them because I have forged an impression of them. I've never met them, probably never will. But to me, they have a bigger value than everyone else, simply because they understood how print media can really enhance their brand and allow them to stand away from everyone else in their field. So if you're a printer, you're like, yeah, right, great, but so what, right? If you're in the print industry, you have to start to change the conversation that you're having away from just color and space. That's great and that's needed, but you've got to start to talk sense. You have to start to make customers, whether they are kind of graphic design agencies, whether they are big corporate companies, the fact that the print media that is used, the finishing done to a piece, can really enhance or destroy or damage a brand. If you're a high market brand and you print on cheap stuff, you just damage, you erode your brand promise. It doesn't look good. So you have to start to introduce the vocabulary of touch into what you do. You do more than print. You are actually an incredibly powerful media to enhance a brand, to add value to a brand. We know that customers, customer product loyalty will more than double if a product can be experienced through more than one sense. There's real commercial value behind it. Now you translate that, and have that conversation with customers. And then I want to think again about printing on a standard stock like everyone else does because they're cost-driven. You're adding value, saying, right, what exactly are you looking for? What piece of information? What's the purpose of it? Who are you targeting? Maybe we need to do something different about the print and print finishing. Print establishes your brand, and iPhone box. I mean, I laugh when I see on social media people taking picture of their iPhone box. It's a box, but they want everyone to know that, look, I've got the iPhone box. Now, print packaging is booming because suddenly we see that packaging is a great way to translate a brand. It's there. Gone are the brand boxes. If you received your iPhone into a brand box, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't feel the same about Apple. The label industry is booming for exactly the same reason. It is more than just a label. It enhances the brand. You can touch it. In print, the difference now is very much about the finishing and what you do to finish a kind of a printed document. Print finishing allows you to harness the world of touch. And it allows you to have discussions so that you bring all the kind of aesthetic component, the creative component, you can really bring it to life by adding a dimension through print. I have placed on chairs a couple of samples. It's not to kind of say, hey, look, we're amazing, but it's to show you what print can do with kind of building dimension and depth to a printed asset. Print is credible. Now websites, I mean, yes, we go there, it's convenient, you can access it whenever you want to, after a day of work, you do some research, it's great, it has a perfect place, it engages with you. But by contrast, print offers higher quality, sustainable information at a slower, accelerated, pace. I'm rubbish if I need to look at something and really think it through or learn something or memorize it. I can't do it on a screen. I need to have it printed. It allows me to look at it and absorb the information better. Print offers more time for a brand to interact with customers in a meaningful and lasting way. Print should not be commoditized. It is not just a cheap and cheerful media. Actually, it really transforms the experience of a customer with a brand. And we often forget that. Of course, print helps you reach your target market. And again, thanks to demographics, you can really reach out at home or at work, your audience is. But again, if you do all this work and then you print it on a standard stock, so what? Again, understand what is your brand, what does your brand stand for? What are your customers looking for? How can you use something that looks beautiful, that feels beautiful when they receive it, to really engage with them and stand away from competition? Really create a connection with them. I love receiving kind of mailed items when it's like the stock is different, the finishing is different. You play with it. You just touch it. You create a feeling towards that brand. You actually want to take it further. Print, there's no doubt, strengthens brand's power. However, yes, it should not be considered on its own. The way powerful brands kind of establish themselves is by combining very cleverly print, online and offline media. If you take a customer journey in an omnichannel world, they will go through online and offline throughout a journey when they're looking for a service or when they're looking for a product. Print should not be ignored, it should not be forgotten. Print can really enhance the communication, the relationship that you have with your customers. Print can really enhance the value of your brand. Print can really help to develop a long-lasting relationship, connection between you and your audience. So the reality, print has to work with digital media, so that that brand promise is consistent throughout what you see on TV, what you hear on the radio, if you visit their website or whatever you do, and when you receive a printed item, it is the same brand promise throughout. It's consistent. Every single aspect of communications taken care of and thoroughly considered. Print offers a unique experience. And printers have got to understand that they have an incredible power that they can tap into, that they can harness the power of touch and help customers understand how it can support their brand strategy, their marketing strategy. Print has the ability to deeply connect with customers. It is not just print, it is much more than that. And I hope this presentation helps you understand how you can and should elevate the conversation that you might have with customers, wherever they are. Thank you.